This man laughs like a child, yet sits someone to death with his bottom. His name is Gangdan, from Montaki, hoped to make a fortune by robbing banks, ended up in a currency exchange. The teller told him the bank was across the street. Gangdan went, got arrested and thrown in jail. He's quite optimistic, sees a fat cellmate, says his face looks like a butt. The cellmate goes ballistic, and so the conflict began. Every cellmate met the same fate, eventually beaten into the hospital by Gangdan. The detective sees this and smirks devilishly. A wicked idea crosses his mind. He locks Gangdan with killer Ruby. Ruby's fierce and doesn't talk much, stole the mob boss's girl, and hid the newly acquired 20 million. The detective wants to find Ruby's hidden money, but Ruby just sits silently, doesn't utter a word. Putting him with Gangdan is perfect. Gangdan is pleased with his new cellmate, says Ruby looks like a horse. Ruby doesn't get mad. Gangdan mimics horse sounds in front of him. Ruby's still unresponsive. The two get along surprisingly well. At least that's what Gangdan thinks. He unilaterally declares Ruby his best friend, but Ruby doesn't see it that way. Gangdan's mouth is like a trumpet, non-stop talking all day. To Ruby this life is worse than death, so Ruby chooses an extreme way out. Seeing his friend leaving, Gangdan loses his appetite, just wants to care for his friend in the hospital. Then Gangdan chooses the same path. Ruby in the hospital bed seeing Gangdan, only hating himself for still being alive. Gangdan is ecstatic, sits by Ruby's bed, doesn't realize he's sitting on someone. Then the poor patient gets sat to death by Gangdan. Now he's successfully in the same room with Ruby. Ruby doesn't even have the strength to roll his eyes. The doctor issues an ultimatum to Ruby: speak or be sent to the asylum. Ruby is too delighted, chooses to stay silent. The doctor, not understanding Ruby's stubbornness, prepares to send him to the asylum. Gangdan hears Ruby will be sent away, decides to go too, or he'll hit his head against a wall. Then he really does. The doctor has no choice, sends Gangdan to the asylum too, to prevent Ruby's escape. The doctor decides to inject a dumbing drug. Ruby offers 100,000, asks the pharmacist to get the mob boss to help him escape, promises to return the hidden 20 million afterwards. The mob boss thinks Ruby's shameless, his own money stolen, now has to help him escape. The more he thinks, the angrier he gets, then agrees. Gangdan in the asylum, looking for friend Ruby, asks everyone if they've seen a man who looks like a horse. The description's too abstract, no one can answer. Finally, he sees Ruby pretending to be an idiot. Feeling sorry for his friend, decides to take Ruby and escape. So, he plans a jailbreak with his friends.